Hello, it is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the congratulatory messages still pouring into the presidency. For the international scene, an update on the pandemic across the world. Welcome to our newsroom. The congratulatory message from the Congolese president to his Djiboutian counterpart, the president of the Republic of Congo, His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso, is among a recent group of leaders who have sent congratulatory telegram to the president of the Republic. It is with real pleasure that I learned of your brilliant re-election to the Supreme Magistracy of your country, wrote Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso in the message sent to the head of state. On this happy occasion, I am particularly pleased to send you, on behalf of the Congolese people and government, as well as my warm and heartfelt congratulations. He then noted, I wish you every success in the accomplishment of your noble mission. He added, salute the relations of friendship and cooperation that exist between our two states and reaffirm my full readiness to work with Your Excellency to strengthen them in the interest of our respective peoples. He also said, reiterating to his Djiboutian counterpart the assurance of my highest consideration. The Prime Minister also paid tribute to the memory of the late Ali Mohammed Afkarda, his friend and former Attorney General. He stressed that by his discretion and efficiency, he was appreciated by all and demonstrated that Djibouti's magistrates could perfectly ensure the continued functioning of the judicial system after independence. His humility led him to remain attached to the land of his country, and he had in his spare time the hobby of cultivating his garden. The Prime Minister reiterated his deepest condolence to the family of the late Ali Mohammed Afkarda and to all his relatives, wishing that God welcomes him into his eternal paradise. The Minister of Interior, Moumin Ahmed Sheikh, a friend of the late Ali Mohammed Afkarda, sends his deepest condolence to all his family. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This Sunday, May 2, the Office of the Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources, Yunus Ali Geddi, hosted a working session of a prelude to the launch of energy efficiency project in the Republic's administrative building in the presence of his counterpart in charge of urbanism, environment and tourism, Mohamed Abdul Qadir Musa Helem, as well as the close collaborators of technicians of both departments. Indeed, this meeting allowed all the stakeholders to meet. Thus, the representatives of the French Development Agency communicate on the program study and implementation of works identified, which would allow significant energy on the scale of public buildings in the Djibouti, that is to say 3,900 megawatt hours per year of saving for a current local consumption of 7,500 megawatt per year. On May the 1st, a symbolic day that characterized the Labor Day all over the world, the Secretary General of the UGTD, Mr. Said Younis Wabiri, held a collective celebration that brought together high-ranking personalities, but above all, private and public workers. As remember last year, the pandemic and the restrictive measures weakened the country's economic, brutally affecting workers in the formal and especially the informal sectors of the Djibouti. In the facing of the galloping epidemic in the rest of the world and the returning forces of COVID-19, in recent weeks in our country, Sheko Hospital has reorganized all its structures and health blocks in order to fight effectively against this second wave of the epidemic. The emergency medical structures in special resuscitation COVID-19 of the hospital Sheikho is composed of dozens of beds. Objective is to provide adequate first aid in a timely manner, culturally sensitive and appropriate to patients affected by COVID-19. A few days ago, the COVID-19 ward at Checo Hospital was full of seriously ill inpatients, mostly elderly people. The majority of these patients suffered from comorbidity such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, and lung infection. But today, the special resuscitation blocks COVID-19 of Hospital Sheho is empty thanks to the medical staff who monitored and provided intensive care to relieve people affected by this pandemic. The initiative of the Sheho Hospital is part of the national response to pool efforts against the risks of COVID-19. We interviewed with Dr. Muhammad Ahmed, a specialist in anesthesia and resuscitation, who told us that the number of COVID-19 sufferers admitted to the Sheikho Hospital has really decreased. Radio Television, under the sponsorship of Abu Ahmed Group, has organized the program Layali Ramadan, which is broadcast on Channel 1 at 6 o'clock in the evening and rebroadcast at 5 o'clock. The program is presented by our colleague Mahad Abdi Roble, and Shakir Alaya Gele takes charge of the jury. The winners of the first episode of Layali Ramadan received their prizes. Their prizes at the headquarters of the magazine Al-Naga Elegance Dependent Abu Ahmed Group. The member of the programs and the winners were warmly welcomed by the owner of the shop's Elegance Dependent Abu Ahmed Group, Mr. Abdurrahman Ahmed Taha, owners of the Abu Ahmed Foundation, and all the employees. For his part, Abu Ahmed Taha, owners of the Abu Ahmed Foundation, said, "We are happy to participate in the disseminations of cultural awareness and the creations of an enthusiastic atmosphere that combines pleasure and interests of draws a smile on the faces of all, especially the young people on whom relies the nations that gives the land of tolerance, love, and equality, the wonderful people and government of Djibouti." As announced by the National Weather Agency, intermittent rains have sprinkled the capital as well as some regions such as Obok, Arta, and Ali Sabih. These rains are also current in the region located in altitude and are announced in the evening of the following days. The rain began in the mornings and continued throughout the day, with the risks of further rainfalls in the evening and tomorrow, according to some forecast. The showers were heavier in the Balbala areas than in the capital. The Wadi Humbuli is already in flood. The public transport and taxis are making the tour to be able to circulate and work. Consider that it is imperative to clear the stagnant waters on the public roads. As soon as the first drop of rain fell, the waters invaded certain neighborhoods and the main traffic routes. The recent rains had specked the grounds which had difficulties in absorbing the waters these mornings. In this moment of intense rains, it is recommended to pedestrians and motorists to remain vigilant to avoid falls and accidents. On the mornings of Saturday, 2 May, torrential rains fell in the region of Arta as well as throughout the countries. Heavy downpours were recorded in the area from Pika 47 to Petit Bara, causing the Wadi of Jander and We'a to flood before ending its course on the friendships dams at Pika 13. The prefectures of Arta informs motorists and users of the National Road 1 to be vigilant and to limit speed because of the flood at the entrance of the city of Arta, and especially to avoid falling rocks from the cliff at the exit of We'a and the peripheral. No human casualties were reported. Just some deformations and cracks in the bridges of Pika 51 on the road leading to Karta toward Tajara. The region of Ali Sabih will record the highest rainfall. The city of Asajok suffered yesterday, Friday, around noon from torrential rain that caused the widespread heavy flooding, resulting in damage to the water retention dam in the Grand Barra sectors, which triggered the heavy flooding in Garden. This year's the International Labor Days of 1st May 2021 coincides with a fine rain that largely watered the whole city of Ali Sabih. The workers of Ali Sabih regions were delighted to celebrate this Labor Day with a pleasant weather. The National Weather Agency had announced yesterday evening that there would be rain accompanied by strong wind in the region of Obok, part of the Obok regions and the Gulf of Tajora. This is how the intermittent moderate rain appeared early this morning of the Obok regions and the Gulf of Tajora. Nevertheless, in this period where persistent rainfall is expected, vigilance is still required. This Saturday, May 1st, 2021, under the auspices of the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, the Djiboutian Handball Federation organizes its first editions of the National Championship or two in the forms of the tournament at the gymnasium of the State High School. We regret to announce the death of the late Musa Ige Olo yesterday in Djibouti. The deceased was born in 1942 in We'a and leaves behind him a large family. The late Musa Ige Olo was the paternal uncle of Omar Ali Ige, director of the information at RTD, the Minister of Interior Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, the Minister of Energy Yunus Ali Gedi, the Minister of Muslim Zafar Mumin Hassan Barre, the Minister of Budget Abdul Karim Adan Sher offered their sincere condolence to the family of the deceased, including Omar Ali Ige. The management and the staff of RTD extend their sincere condolence to the family of the deceased. May God welcome him into his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, coronavirus global update on the pandemic. The pandemic was killed more than 3.10 million people worldwide since the end of the December 2019. Out of more than 151 million confirmed cases of infection, the United States is the country with the most deaths, 576,000 deaths, already ahead of Brazil, 406,000 dead, and Mexico 216,000. India 211,000 deaths to date is expected to overtake Mexico in the next few days. These figures are globally underestimated. They are based on daily reports from national health authorities and do not include statistically based reassessment. India opened its vaccination campaign for all of its 600 million adults on Saturday. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.